Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militan Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadandigam Adadanastrинанданtai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So in a couple of more days is the most auspicious event of Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja celebration. So in honor of that, we get to talk about our favorite one of our favorite subject matters, Srila Prabhupada. So I thought first I'd say something, because wherever Prabhupada went in this world, he used to sing this song, Jai Radha Madhav, before any of his lectures. So we can understand this was a very favorite bhajan of Srila Prabhupada. And it's interesting because most of our bhajans, like Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, they all have some shiksha. It's like we're singing Sri Guru Charana Padma every morning, that we should worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. We should purify our mind by the words emanating from his love. Some siksha is there. But in the song there's no siksha. Sometimes we sing some songs, there's some Lila. Gwala Bala Sangha Denu Trai, Krishna's herding all the cows with the cowherd boys. But no Lila. This song is written by Srila Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, who was the first in our line of spiritual masters to preach in a language outside of the Indian languages, in English. In fact, his one book, Lord Chaitanya's Life and Precepts, in the very birth year of Srila Prabhupada, reached to the shores of Canada and McGill University. Very prophetic. So Bhaktivinoda wrote this song is simply names of Krishna. But what's so special is that all those names of Krishna make a complete picture of Vrindavan. Complete picture of Vrindavan comes. First of all, Jai Radha Madhav. Because the essence of Vrindavan is Radha and Madhav. Just now we were in Washington, D.C., in New Jersey. We saw so many beautiful forests. But why we have ruchi, why we have taste for this Vrindavan forest? Even though mostly just thorn trees are there. Because here in this forest, Vrindavan, Radha and Krishna had their divine pastimes, even going on today for those who have eyes to see. So for the essence of Vrindavan is Radha Madhava, Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Vihari. In Vrindavan, so many kunjas are there. And I saw wherever I go in the West, so many trees are there going straight and straight and straight and straight. We saw also in New Jersey and DC. And in the manor, they have trees, you fall over backwards trying to see the top. But in Braj, our trees try to grow straight, but they're melting in Krishna Prem, they again come down. When they go up and come down, then it makes like a little room. This is a little kunj. So many kunjas are there. Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janabala, so many gopis are there. Because we've heard Nanda Baba, he had 9 lakhs of cows. You know how much is 1 lakh? Do you know? We're going to learn something new today. 100,000. 1 lakh? 100,000. So 9 lakhs means almost 1 megabyte. Huh? So for milking all those cows, we need lots of gopis. So Srila Prabhupada, when explaining this song, he said, this is Vrindavan. We don't hear about factories and tall skyscraper buildings and motor cars. Gopis, cows, kunjas, forest. This is Vrindavan, natural life, no factories. Like nowadays the government encouraging so many industrial areas in Braj. No factories, this is real Vrindavan. So Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janavalava, Giri Baradari. Our picture of Vrindavan will be incomplete without Giriraj. He's one of the most favorite things of Braj for all of our devotees, Giriraj. Every Purnima, so many lakhs of people come to do Prikrama. During Purushottam month, we saw you couldn't even get credit card between the people. So many people. What we see on Purnima, that we were seeing every day. And on Purnima, Purushottam month, forget it. It was too crowded. So Giriraj is there. Jai Radha Madhava, Kundi Gopi Jana Balava, Giri Varadari. Yasoda, Maha Yasoda is there. She's like the emblem of love for Krishna. She loves Krishna so much. She can't bear that Krishna goes outside of her sight. Every day Krishna goes with all the cowherd boys. He leaves Nanda Bhavan. He goes down to the gate of Nandagama, goes out the gate. And Mother Yasoda follows him all the way out the gate. And Krishna says, I'm okay, I'm here. Baldav is here. You know, Bal means strength, Bal. So Baldav is there, nothing to worry about Maya. He takes her back to the gate. He again starts, again she comes behind. He said, not just Baldav, but Subal. Subal is there. Su, we know, mean extra. So Balaram is also there, but Subal is there. Not just Balaram, but Subal. And again he takes her back. 10 times he has to take her back to the gate. So Mother Yasoda, she's an emblem of love for Krishna. Yasoda Nandana, Braja Jana Ranjana, and all the Brishbasis there. Krishna himself is told by his own lotus mouth, Brishbasi Balab, Sada, Mida, Jivan, Pran. These Brishbasis were more dear to me than my own life. So all the Brishbasis are there headed by Nanda Baba. Jamuna. We can't imagine Vrindavan without Jamuna, although most of the year it's without Jamuna. But right now we're seeing, if anybody's on Facebook, you can go, we just put beautiful pictures, unbelievable pictures of Jamuna. So broad and clean and clear and so wonderful. We went to, our boatman took us to a place in the middle of some islands, and water was just like silk, because their heavy current is going, but in the middle of islands, it was just flowing very sweetly, and we were just feeling like silk. Water was like silk. So Jamuna is there, very powerful and purifying. She cuts through Braj just like a little blue ribbon. Jamuna Tira Banachari. And Tira we know means bank, so Ban we know means forest. So on the eastern bank of Jamuna there's 5 forests. Bhadravan, Bandirvan, Belvan, Lohavan, and Gokul Mahavan. One forest has 2 names. And on the western bank then we have Madhuvan, Talavan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, biggest Vrindavan, then another big one, Kamyavan, and the little tiny forest, Kadiravan, 7. 7 and 5, 12. 12 forests. So in this tiny little song that Prabhupada was always singing wherever he went in the world, whole picture of Vrindavan comes. Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janabalava, Giri Badadari, Yasoda Nandana, Braja Jana Ranjana, Jamuna Tira, Banachari. So I guess I should start from where I first met Srila Prabhupada, because I was studying in the University of Notre Dame. Because we were born in a very wealthy family. We had a nice house overlooking the ocean. You could see the waves coming in and breaking on the rocks. We had our own swimming pool. We had everything. But I wasn't happy. I was feeling empty in my life. So I thought, why I should spend my life just chasing after money. Money is not a problem. better I spend my life helping others. So I was studying sociology in the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. A very prestigious university. But I couldn't find any knowledge there. And I was thinking that what is my social work? I will try to help other people get a better education so they can get a better job, so they can make more money, and they can buy all the same things that didn't give me any happiness. In other words, I'll make people as frustrated as I am. So I was in a big crisis, what to do. During the summer vacation we went traveling, and we came to Boulder, Colorado, and we met the devotees chanting there in the park. Actually, this is the anniversary of, this is actually the anniversary of the day I met the devotees. Because we walked into the park and some hippie said, "Hey, you know the Hare Krishnas are here." I said, "Oh my God, no, tell me they're here too." He said, "Yeah, they're going to start a temple, but they don't have a place. They're staying with us in a log cabin outside of Boulder till they find a place. And tomorrow's Krishna's birthday." I said, "Krishna's birthday?" I knew the chanting of Hare Krishna. Well, it was a whole bunch of hippies, and we used to always chant Hare Krishna, but I never knew that it wasn't a what, it was a who. And he has a birthday. I knew the chanting, I knew Krishna, but I didn't know it was a who. And that he had a birthday. They said, "Tomorrow's Krishna's birthday. We're going to fast till midnight. At midnight we have a 25-course vegetarian feast, Indian recipes." In those days we didn't know you're supposed to break with Falahar Prasad and the next day have grain feast. We had the full-on puri, samosa, sweet rice, pakora, kachori, halava feast right at midnight. And I was a cook, so I thought, wow, that's far India, 25-course Indian vegetarian cooking. He said, "Yeah, we got space in the cabin if you want to come." So I said, "All right." So I went out to the cabin, and anyway, it's a long story, we'll make it short. We want to talk about Prabhupada. So anyway, the next morning, the devotees got up very early. It must have been 6 o'clock, because when I joined, there was no such thing as Mangalarti. And 6 o'clock for us was an ungodly hour. Even we crack open our eye at 9 o'clock and say, "Oh, the sun is shining." Oh. And they were chanting Hare Krishna at 6 o'clock in the morning. So then I got up, they gave me a copy of Bhagavad-Gita as it is. The little blue Macmillan edition, that was only like 400 pages. Now we have 1,100. So 700 pages were edited out of it. Still we became devotees. So it was all small Bhagavad Gita. I read that. Prabhupada's introduction. And there Prabhupada gave a simple example. He said, just like you have a bird in a bird cage. You can make the cage of silver, you can make it of gold, you can put a carpet, you can put a TV set, but until you give some food to the bird, he won't be happy. In the same way, this body is like a cage, and this bird-like soul is sitting. You can do everything for this cage, but until you give food to the soul, he won't be happy. Then I understood this is the knowledge that I was looking for. I wasn't finding it in the university. I wasn't finding it anywhere. So I never went back to the university. I became student of Bhagavad-Gita and disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And I first met Prabhupada in his books, which is why Prabhupada always emphasizing, and we're always emphasizing this, book distribution. So after a while, it came January of 1970. That was Jamashtami. In fact, actually, Jamashtami that year was on the 2nd of December, of September, excuse me. We're just one day off, just the 3rd, So in January, they sent me to LA to get initiated. So we drove all the way from Boulder all the way out to LA. We arrived around noon. That time they were in they weren't on Watseka, they were in La Cienega Boulevard, which was an old church, but it didn't have any place for Prabhupada to stay. So Prabhupada was staying in some flat nearby. He would come in the morning for greeting the deities, Shringar Darshan. He would give class. Then after class, in the old days, after class, Prabhupada would always do kirtan, and we don't do that anymore. But always after class, Prabhupada would take his gong. You can see the pictures. Prabhupada would have kirtan for 5-10 minutes, like that. And then he went back to his house. So we arrived around noontime, so we weren't going to see Prabhupada till the next day. But it just so happened we arrived on a Saturday because they were going to combine the initiation ceremony with Sunday feast, because it was a big attraction. Fire sacrifice, wow. So that it would attract people to the Sunday feast. So Saturdays especially, we used to go to either Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard. And in America, if chanting the names of God on the street is your religion, they can't stop you. But if you block traffic, then they'll catch you on that one. So there was a place on Hollywood Boulevard where there was a restaurant called Diamond Jim's. And somehow the building came down, and then it was indented like this. The wall didn't come straight down like that. There was a triangular shaped area in front of the door to Diamond Jim's. So we would push people into that triangular area, and we chanted with our back to the street, and the sidewalk was free. The police were happy. We were happy. Only Diamond Jim was very unhappy. I told this story one time here in Vrindavan, and Gargamuni was here, and he told me, yeah, he was a big mafia. He threatened to kill me if you don't move these people from this place. So everybody else was happy though. And we were chanting with a very wonderful devotee named Vishnujan. He wasn't Swami then. Later became Vishnujan Swami. And Prabhupada said he would chant his way back to Golok. He had such a heavenly sound to his voice. And he would have us lined up against the street in a half circle like this. He said, just like Krishna's eye. And he would stand at the end so he can see the street, he can see the sidewalk both. And he would play his mridanga, and he would dance on his toes to look like he was floating. And we even had a Hollywood raga for our kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was our Hollywood raga. And Vishnu John would play very fast. He said, we don't want any gaps for Maya to enter. So he was playing furiously. Again, I was telling this story with Gargamuni was here. And Gargamuni said, yes, that particular night, Prabhupada asked me to take him to see the Sankirtan party in Hollywood Boulevard. So Vishnu John, he can see the sidewalk, he can see the street both. So he was chanting, all of a sudden his eyes got very big and he went, Prabhupada, and he hit the street. And we were facing the building, so we didn't see anything in front of us that would make him do like that. So something must have happened behind. So we all turned around, and now you'll get an idea of how old I am. Prabhupada was there in a Ford Admiral. Now you probably never, you know Mustang, but you probably never heard of a Ford Admiral. That's a mid-sized Ford car. And Prabhupada, he had his hand in his bead bag, and the pure devotee, he was making pranams to us. We could see him in the window of the car. Prabhupada was so grateful that we were pushing on the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya in this horrible place called Hollywood. Prabhupada, pure devotee, he was making pranams to us. We wanted to peel the sidewalk up and hide underneath. We were so embarrassed because you don't want to know what we were. Because there's one Yamaraj, he's got one assistant named Chitragupta. You know Chitra? Chitra means picture. And Gupta means secret. You think, oh, nobody saw that one. Chitragupta got you. You thought, oh, nobody saw that. Chitragupta got you. We crashed Chitragupta's hard drive. And to such people as this, Prabhupada was making his pranams. He was so grateful for us to push on Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya in such a horrible place as Hollywood. So that was actually the first time I personally saw Srila Prabhupada. Then, next day was our initiation ceremony. And this was one of the last times where Prabhupada did everything. He sat down right with us in front of the fire yajna. You know, he gave the lecture. He chanted on the beads. Later, Prabhupada would chant on his beads in the room and then just hang them on the, you come forward, you take them off the mic stand and give them. But Prabhupada took the beads and he chanted right in front of us. And there was 10 of us that were getting initiated. It took a long time. Prabhupada to chant 10 rounds. And it wasn't that you went to the temple store and you bought some tulsi beads from Loi Bazaar. In those days, we made our own beads. We used to go to a place called Tandy Leather Company and buy these little wooden beads. Or sometimes big beads. You can see some pictures, they have big blue and red ones. But Bhavananda, the first devotee I met was Bhavananda, so he got me these nice white, very light colored beads. And you took a string, some nylon string, and you tied it on the doorknob and you stretched it all the way across the room. Because when you tie 109 knots, that string disappears. We used to put we tie it on the end of the doorknob and then Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and tie one bead and then put another one. And that string, after 109 knots, because it's Krishna bead also, it disappears. So they looked, so then Prabhupada asked for my beads, so I came forward, gave my beads to Prabhupada. And he chanted, he held them just like this. And I'll show you how he chanted. Till today I still chant like this. When he would start, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, then he would roll like this on the sides of the finger. The Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, like that. He would, you know. Look, they were very light color. It looked like a string of pearls in Prabhupada's hand. So then he then he asked me how many rounds. I said 16. And what are the rules and regulations? I said no meat eating, no illicit sex life, no gambling. And then I was so nervous, my mind went blank. And then I freaked out because I couldn't think it all. I just froze, and I couldn't think it all. You know, I heard some brahmacharini in the background said, "No drugs, no drugs, no drugs." I said, "No intoxication," and Prabhupada said, "Yes, no LSD." And then Prabhupada laughed at his own joke. So sweet. So then he handed my beads, and luckily I reached with my right hand. Many people reached with the left, and Prabhupada, boom, he would pull the beads back if you reached with your left hand. And somehow I accidentally reached with my right hand. And Prabhupada said, "So your name is Deena Bandhu." Deena Bandhu means friend of the humble. And I guess I still look so freaked out from forgetting the fourth regular principle. I had some funny look on my face because he said, "Is it all right?" "Oh yes, Prabhupada, it's all right." So then Prabhupada, he put the colors on the yajna, he did the yajna himself. That was one of the last times Prabhupada did everything. He gave the lecture. Before the yajna, he gave a lecture. And I still remember, he said, so there's a small Bengali verse. Suchi hoi, muchi hoi, jadi Krishna tyaje. Muchi hoi, suchi hoi, yadi Krishna bhaje. The suchi means Brahman. Suchi means clean. Brahman is very, very clean. If you meet real sadhus, they're very, very clean. All their habits are very, very clean. But yadi Krishna tyaje. Just like we know the word tyag. Tyag comes from the root word tyaj. Tyajana. So, if he has no Krishna consciousness, or he has given up Krishna consciousness, then he becomes muchi. Muchi means the cobbler, dealer in animal skin, very dirty animal skins. But even if somebody is muchi hoi, suchi hoi jadi Krishna bhaje. But even if one is cobbler, lowest down, if he is doing the bhajan of Krishna, he's worshipping Krishna, he becomes suchi, the highest. So Prabhupada said, you please kindly take advantage of this small Bengali verse and make your life perfect. And then he did the yajna. Then he got up on the Vyasasan. Now the Vyasasan, there was a big, like a stage, and we had there was a picture of Panchatattva. On top of that Panchatattva there was Lord Jagannath. And then we had a little altar, we just had the little tiny Radha Krishna. We didn't have the big Radha Krishna lay in those days. And then there was Prabhupada's, or I guess, no, Radha Krishna was first, then Panchatattva and Jagannath, and then this was probably the first, they told me this is one of the first Vyasasans. Because we have a godbrother named Narayan who's very talented. So we made this beautiful Vyasasan, all carved wood and velvet and umbrella. And Prabhupada came in the LA temple and he saw this thing. And Prabhupada began to cry. He said, I'm not worthy to sit on such a seat. And he began to cry. He says, only on behalf of my spiritual master, I can sit on this seat. So Prabhupada sat on that Vyasasan, and then he led Kirtan. Now, as I told, the devotee that made me a devotee was Bhavananda. So it wasn't in those days you went to the temple store and bought a nice Khadi dhoti from Loi Bazaar. We used to go to J.C. Penney's or Woolworths and buy 65% Dacron, 35% nylon, peach-colored dhotis. And Bhavananda, he was a filmmaker from Hollywood before he became a devotee. So he got the cloth that was nice and shiny and silky and very slick and slippery. It looked very nice, but it was very slick and slippery. So there we were, jumping up and down in front of Prabhupada, and the dhoti, because later we tied knots, but then later Prabhupada, I met many devotees, especially in Mayapur, my godbrother Shamlal, who is no more. There was a initiation ceremony. It was very hot, so everybody had a kurta on. Didn't have a kurta on. So Prabhupada could see this big knot. And he said, what is that knot? He said, only Sudra ties a knot. You just pull it like that and fold it over. So in the old days, we did it like that. So I was there jumping up and down, and suddenly I felt, so I just grabbed my dhoti like that. I was just jumping in front of Prabhupada. Then there was a little room on the side of the old Lasiyaniga temple where Prabhupada would take prasad. So we all went outside to the prasad hall. I was on cloud 9. Now I was Deena Bandhu Das. And we were taking prasadam, and then somebody said Prabhupada's leaving. And we all ran out, and there was a little walkway from the temple to the street. And we all knelt on either side of the walkway like little puppy dogs. You know, we were just like little puppy dogs. And Prabhupada would come down, he had his hand in his bead bag, and he would touch us with his finger, and like that. He'd do one on this side, one on that side, then because he was moving forward, he would hit one on this side, but he would miss one on this side. You know, when he come back to this side, he'd miss one, and he didn't miss one on that side. So I had one very dear godbrother of mine. Somehow he got missed. He got missed, so he got in line second time. He got missed twice. He was really about to cry. He got missed twice. Yeah. So, in LA Temple, I met one devotee from 26 2nd Avenue named Mahapurush. I've never met him for a long time. I don't know where he is. But he was from 26 2nd Avenue. In fact, we were just there. We gave class in 26 2nd. So wonderful. Amazing thing is when you read about it, you have an idea of a big space like this. but it's only about this, from here to the wall. It's very narrow. You're surprised at what tiny place Prabhupada started the Hare Krishna movement in. It's very small. So anyway, he was, and behind on the second floor was Prabhupada's room. So Mahaprabhu, she was a hippie in the Lower East Side. He knew that on any day of the week you could go upstairs to Prabhupada's room and you could get free food. And not just ordinary food, you got these little flat breads called chapatis. And there was a spicy pea soup called dal, and there was spicy vegetable pressure called sabji, and of course rice, everybody knows. So sometimes he used to go there just to get some free lunch. And Prabhupada would be sitting there with everybody and directing the serving. So one day he stopped by Prabhupada's room to get some free lunch. And Prabhupada was sitting there, and it was just so nice sitting there with Prabhupada. And gradually everyone left. And he just felt it so nice sitting here with Prabhupada. He just sat there and sat there. Then he suddenly realized that nobody's in the room, just him and Prabhupada. And he saw the hippies, they never even washed their plates. What is being a plate? They didn't even wash their hands. They just eat, then throw the plate in the sink, and not even wash their hands, walk out the door. So all these dirty plates were in the sink, all these dirty pots were on the floor. And Mahaprabhu began to think, well, somehow or other, all these plates get clean. Somehow these pots get clean to get cooked the next day. And I'm usually not here, and there's only one person in the room who could be doing this. And he thought, maybe I should help him. And he started picking up the pots. And Prabhupada broke into a smile. And he said, I was just praying to Krishna to send someone to please kindly help me. Can you imagine what Prabhupada went through to save useless people like us, completely degraded people like us? He could have stayed anywhere in any Gaudiya Math, what to speak of washing pots. He would have people cooking for him. Everybody loved Prabhupada's kirtan, they loved his lectures, they would have done everything for him. Here these useless people coming, not even washing their plate, and Prabhupada was washing the plates and washing the pots and cooking for such people. Can you imagine? This is a pure devotee. We have heard the verse of Mahaprabhu, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasihishana Amanina Manadena, but Srila Prabhupada was the personification of that verse. Nowadays, if such type people come to the Sunday feast, we give them a plate, say, can you go around back, get out of, we don't want the life members to see you. But Prabhupada was cooking for and cleaning up after such people. And he saved us. Because he saw, although we were so degraded, Prabhupada saw there was one little spark in all that darkness. We wanted to know what life was all about. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what life was all. I was searching. I wasn't finding happiness. We had everything in our house, but I wasn't finding happiness. I wanted to know what life was all about. So Prabhupada saw that tiny little spark. We were after self-realization. And Prabhupada fanned that little spark. And he took these completely degraded people and made them into pure Vaishnavas, and he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world with these people. That is Srila Prabhupada. So I was amazed when I heard this story. So there's another story. There's only few devotees in the whole world who know this story. One of them is here in Vrindavan now, Tosa and Krishna. And my first temple president was a devotee named Harinama. Well, I lost. He came here to Vrindavan to leave his body, but I lost track of him. He went to different clinics, and I don't know where he is now. So, but he was my first temple president. And he was, before Boulder, he was temple president of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Now there was temples on the East Coast, there was temples on the West Coast, but this was out in the middle of nowhere. New Mexico is a desert. And Prabhupada explains that desert places, very impious people take birth in desert places. So it's really backward type of place. So, but he was always writing to Prabhupada that you please come here, because he was from 26 2nd Avenue also, that you please come to Santa Fe and bless us, you please come to Santa Fe and bless us. So then Prabhupada agreed that he would come. So Prabhupada was going from New York to Toronto to Chicago to LA. So on the way to LA, Albuquerque came on the way. That's where the airport wasn't in Santa Fe, it was in Albuquerque. And that time Govindadasi was cooking, but they didn't have enough money to send Govindadasi along with Prabhupada, so they sent her, going to LA. The first stop was Albuquerque, so they sent her to Albuquerque, to Santa Fe. And then Prabhupada would meet her there and go to LA. I mean, now we fly around the world like nothing, but those days we didn't have any money. So so Govindadasi couldn't follow Prabhupada up Toronto, Chicago, Albuquerque, LA. So she just came. At that time, we have a type of spider in America called black widow that are quite poisonous. You can't die unless you're a very old person or a little baby or something, but you can get quite ill. So a black widow had bitten Harinama's leg. It was all swollen. He had fever. He was half delirious. And Govindadasi shows up, our dear God sister, wonderful God sister, by whose mercy we introduced Tulsi worship into ISKCON. And this is just after Prabhupada had that stroke or whatever it was in New York. So Govindadasi, she went into Santa Fe and she visited a few doctors, because Santa Fe is 1 mile above sea level, 1.5 kilometers above the level of the sea. So all the doctors told her that this altitude is very bad for people with heart conditions. So she came back and said, Harinama, Prabhupada can't come here. This is a very bad place for people with heart conditions. And he was half delirious, so he listened to her. And they decided, yeah, Prabhupada can't, we'll send him straight to LA. So the airport was in Albuquerque, not in Santa Fe. So they had a little Volkswagen Bug, if anybody remembers those things. But Volkswagen used to have, for those who were young, they used to look like a beetle of some sort. We used to call it a bug, Volkswagen Bug. If you go to Peru and Bolivia, you'll find dozens of them. Somehow they're very popular there. So they drove up to the Albuquerque airport and waiting for Prabhupada to come. And Prabhupada came and they paid their obeisance, but Harinama couldn't bend his leg. It was all swollen. So his leg was sticking out funny. And Prabhupada said, Harinama, what's wrong with your leg? Oh, nothing. This is old days. It's Swamiji. Nothing, Swamiji. But you immediately have to go to LA. And Prabhupada said, you boys write me so many letters that I should come here, and now you're telling me immediately I should go away? And Govindadasi blurted out, but Prabhupada, I talked to the doctors. They say this altitude is very bad for people with heart condition. And Prabhupada looked at them very incredulously and said, oh, you think that I'm an old man? Then they didn't know what to do. Now they were flushed. They didn't know what to do. So what should we do? And Prabhupada said, well, what do you think we should do? And Govinda said, Swamiji, I don't know. What do you think we should do? And Prabhupada said, well, what do you think we do? Well, Swamiji, you're the pure devotee. What do you think we should do? Prabhupada so humbly said, that does not matter. What do you think we should do? So then they realized it's foolish. They invited Prabhupada to come there. He came there. Now they're sending him away. So they decided Prabhupada should come back to the temple. So they got in the Volkswagen Bug, and it's a little tiny car. So now Prabhupada's sitting right next to Harinama. He had so many questions. And now Prabhupada's sitting right next to him. And as soon as Prabhupada's sitting right next to him, he realized how foolish all his questions were. And he couldn't think of any question to ask. And he could just say, Swamiji, it's so nice to have your association. And Prabhupada would smile and say, yes, and it is so nice to have your association. And then they drove a little further, And he couldn't think of any questions. So he said, Swamiji, it's so nice to have your association. And Prabhupada smiled, and yes, it is so nice to have your association. Prabhupada was so humble, you know. And they drove a little farther. Swamiji, it's so nice to have your associate. Yes, and it's so nice to have your associate. And Santa Fe is famous for its sunsets. Very colorful sunsets there. But Harinama said the whole time we were in Santa Fe, I never saw a sunset like that night. The Krishna put on a special show for his pure devotee. So now everybody in the temple, our very dear God sister, what is her name? She wrote the book, Prabhupada is Coming? Mahamaya. Mahamaya, she wrote this book, Prabhupada is Coming. And you know what happens when Prabhupada is coming? Well, now everybody in the temple knows Prabhupada is not coming. So you can imagine what didn't happen. So Prabhupada came back to the temple, and Tosa and Krishna, he was just happened to be visiting there, and some other people were visiting there. All of a sudden this little Volkswagen pulls up and Prabhupada steps out, and everybody goes, you know. So they haven't cleaned anything, they haven't arranged anything. And for Prabhupada, this was like he had conquered an empire, because we had temples on the east, on the west, this is in the middle somewhere, you know. So he wanted to see the new temples. He walked in, we had Jagannath, they had big Jagannath like that, and big Baladev like that, and little tiny Subhadra like that. They later came to Boulder. Those were the first deities that I worshipped, with Jagannath, with little tiny Subhadra. Later, I can't remember his name, he carved a nice big Subhadra. So Prabhupada paid his obeisance to the deities. Then he went in the kitchen. You can know what the kitchen looks like if Prabhupada's not coming. You know, and everyone was following Prabhupada. He went back to the Brahmachari ashram. You know what Brahmachari ashrams look like if Prabhupada's not coming. And Harinam was going, but Swamiji, nobody knew you were coming. Prabhupada just poked his head into the bathroom. He thought Prabhupada had conquered an empire, you know, it was a new temple. Then he went back in the temple room and he sat down on a big cushion. And he opened up that famous white bag. And somebody had given him some besan laddus. But in the heat, because Santa Fe is very hot, they had melted, so they weren't round. So nobody could understand they were laddus. Prabhupada had this little piece of tin foil, and he opened it up. And like a little cowherd boy, sharing with all his little cowherd friends, he began passing out little breaking off pieces and passing out laddu to all the devotees. Like that. And Harinam had no idea. This is so far back, nobody even knew what a besan laddu was. And he thought it was sweet peanut butter or something. So Prabhupada was sitting there, like I said, there was some guests, so one hippie boy was there, and Prabhupada was sitting in this big cushion, surrounded by all the devotees, like a little cowherd boy with all his friends. And this hippie blurts out, Swamiji, who is Krishna? And Prabhupada turned around, and in the most as matter-of-fact way, as if, you know, everybody knows, you know. You don't know, everybody knows. Prabhupada said, Krishna, he's the little cowherd boy in Vrindavan who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Imagine you don't know anything about Krishna consciousness. You got, who's Krishna? Prabhupada said, he's a little cowherd boy in Vrindavan who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says a sweet answer like that. So there's only few devotees, you'll never see this on a memories tape, because only few devotees, only Govinda Dasi, Harinama, and Tosa and Krishna were there. So I'll tell one of my very favorite stories to encourage all of the new devotees here. Because most of the new devotees, you're all thinking, oh, we're so unfortunate, you guys, you're so fortunate, you got to see Prabhupada, and we never got to see Prabhupada, we're so unfortunate. Don't think that way. We had a wonderful godbrother named Kartikeya, who's no longer in this world. And he was cooking for Prabhupada and serving Prabhupada. And they went to Hawaii. So one day Govinda Dasi came back from the market and she had wheat germ. Now I've never met anybody in India who knows what wheat germ is, but anyway, it's a product of wheat, but it's not the suji that you make halava from. But Kartikeya thought next time Prabhupada asks for halava, I'm going to make it with the wheat germ instead of the suji. and he'll like it so much. So one day it rained. It's like now every day it's raining. So it was a little bit cool. So when it's cold, Prabhupada liked halava. It's full of ghee and grains, makes you nice and warm. So he told Kartikeya to cook some halava. So Kartikeya went in the kitchen. He said, now I'm going to make it with the wheat germ, and Prabhupada's going to like it so much. Prabhupada's going to like it so much, and he was cooking. Whole bhav was like that. Prabhupada will be so pleased. He's going to really like this, you know. And he cooked it with this bhav. He offered to the deities. He put it in a bowl. He brought it into Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada looked and said, what is this? Halava means suji. And with his left hand, he said, take it out. Now if you reject something by left hand, that's very heavy. He said, take it out. Now Kartikeya, he was a very emotional type of person. Very emotional type, bhav book. So he was completely destroyed. His whole bhav is that Prabhupada would like this so much. And now Prabhupada just said, take it out. He didn't know what to do. His whole life, he was just, the whole motive, the whole desire was that Prabhupada would be so pleased. He went into the temple room. He sat in front of the picture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and he began to cry. He said, I was just trying to please your spiritual son, Srila Prabhupada, but somehow he's become upset with me. I don't know what to do. So he was praying like that and crying. Then he heard Prabhupada's voice. Kartikeya? Kartikeya? He ran to Prabhupada's room. He said, bring that halava. So then he brought the halava. Prabhupada ate it with great gusto. Boom, boom. He said, bring some more. And he ate some more. Then he said, bring some more. Prabhupada finished off the whole pot of halava. So Kartikeya told me he learned two things from this. One is that Prabhupada is not alone. There's a whole line of spiritual masters behind Prabhupada going all the way up to the lotus feet of Krishna. Because he was praying in front of the picture of Bhaktisiddhanta, right? So Prabhupada's not alone. Behind Prabhupada, whole line of spiritual masters are there. First thing. Second thing Prabhupada told is that the grandfather is more merciful than the father. Just like I have practical experience in my own life. My grandfather had nowadays we would call it a convenience store, but those days we didn't have such a thing. But you know, it has a variety type of things. So when we go to visit our grandfather, we'd always go to that, myself and all my brothers, we go to the side where all the chocolates were. And my father, who had to pay all the dental bills, he would come, no, 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 no. And grandpa from the backside, he would give us. So grandfather, he's more merciful than the father. So don't think that you're unfortunate. You all have Prabhupada as your grandfather's spiritual master. He'll be more merciful to you than to us. You're most fortunate. Don't think you're unfortunate. You're most fortunate. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.